No. No.
So that video clip perfectly sums up what is going on with Donald Trump and Canada and Mexico. Donald Trump is behaving like a big baby, trying to get his ways, and when he's not going to get his way, he's going to cry. And I can't believe that people are really taking Donald Trump, the whole tariff trade war, serious, because everybody knows that that is not how trade works. Like, especially with the big three auto companies, America auto companies that operate in Canada, they spend billions of dollars and years to set up plants in Canada, in Ontario. And Donald Trump knows that it is not like delaying the tariff for 1 month and keep delaying it and giving them an ultimatum to ship back jobs to the United States of America. That's not how it works, because they invest billions of dollars in Ontario in setting up these plants. And even if they decide to move over some of the jobs back to America, it would take all of Donald Trump administration for them to find place in America to expand their operations there. So this is just like one big joke. And I'm sure come April, the same thing is going to happen. So today I want to talk about more about the trade between Canada, US and Mexico, this whole trade war that is going on. I also want to talk about an opportunity for Jamaicans in Jamaica to invest in a highway in Jamaica that's going up on the Jamaica Stock Exchange coming the 18th of this month. And also in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I want to talk about Ralph Gonsalves and the Argyle Agreement. Ralph Gonsalves is pretty much a mediator trying to keep Venezuela from going to war with Guyana. So these three stories I want to talk about. So let's talk about it. So the first story I want to talk about is Trans-Jamaican Highway. They're going public, giving Jamaicans the opportunity to buy into the future of Jamaica. So this story is coming from TVJ Jamaica. So let's take a look and talk about it right after.
There's a recommendation for Jamaicans to buy shares in Trans-Jamaican Highway's offer for sale, which officially opened today. The offer closes on March 18 and will cost $3.60 per share. Trans-Jamaican Highway boasts strong cash flows and is among the top 5 dividend-paying companies in the region. The company generated net profits of $31.32 million during its last financial year, compared with $23.26 million during the previous fiscal year.
Okay, so that was some amazing news coming out of Jamaica, the Trans-Jamaica Highway, the investment that is open up for Jamaicans. And I believe that this is a good opportunity. And as the report stated, top 5 in terms of dividend paid out. And we saw 30 million, 20 million in 1 year. Like, that is amazing. And I believe that, we have to give the government credit for this, because I've always said that there's a lot of companies in the past 20 years, big Jamaican companies that have sold out and are no longer Jamaican owned, like D&G, we know Grace Kennedy, we know all of those big companies that been operating in Jamaica for decades. And a lot of Jamaican stuff have been sold out. Like Jamaicans don't own much anymore. And I've always said that it would be good, like, if the government would have been able to buy those big companies to prevent them from moving out of Jamaica or to lose the Jamaica name. And because, like, for example, like Red Stripe, yes, they use Jamaica to market it, but they can get up one day and say, you know what, Red Stripe is no longer a Jamaican beer. So stuff like this, I love this, that Jamaicans can get to invest back in their country. And as you saw, like, it's not like an investment that don't make sense. You're making a good amount of money from these investments. So kudos to the government for opening up this so that Jamaicans can invest. So guys, sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this. Would you invest in the Trans-Jamaican Highway? Like, I'm going to Jamaica, but I wish I could get there earlier, because this is something that I would definitely invest in. Sound off and let me know your thoughts. Here at Carib 21, I'm on a mission to showcase the vibrant culture and the breathtaking beauty of the Caribbean while showcasing our culture and what is trending. If you want to support me on this mission, please subscribe. And if you also want to support, you can hit the comment section and buy me a cup of coffee. In order to buy me a cup of coffee, you can follow these instructions. Just click more. You will see the link to buy me a cup of coffee. Click the link. You can purchase 1 or 2 cups of coffee and you'll be helping me to fulfill this mission. Thank you. So the second thing I want to talk about is coming out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, he is pretty much like a mediator between what is going on between Guyana and Venezuela. And they signed some declaration in 2023 called the Argyle Agreement that the leaders met in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And as I said, Ralph Gonsalves pretty much act as a mediator to keep these two countries from going into full-blown war. So let's take a look at what the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines have to say about what is going on now in terms of the escalation in the region. Let's take a look.
They had an interaction with the floating production, storage, and offloading platforms. These are undoubtedly under Guyana's jurisdiction because that's for the purpose of the oil. Taking the oil out from below the seabed. And immediately the Argyle Declaration had to be activated. The Argyle Declaration works. Even after the ICJ delivers a judgment, whichever way they go, you're still going to have tensions. They may deliver a judgment sometime later this year. Or early next year. I don't know. I'm not too up to speed on the progress of the litigation, and I know the ICJ will take some time to write the judgment and so forth, because we have this role which we are playing, and I take the role seriously.
Okay, so that was Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves, talking about the Argyle Agreement. And I think that this is very important because, as I said, that agreement was signed in 2023, where the leaders of both countries, they met in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with other Caribbean leaders at the table, and Mr. Ralph Gonsalves as the mediator, and they agree in that agreement that it will never get to a point where they have to use force against each other. So I hope that this agreement will hold up, and I'm going to break it down. I'll go more in depth in a video that I'm going to have coming up next week to go really in depth with this thing, because it goes back, from what I hear, it goes back over 100 years. The feud for this land that borders both countries. So I have to go deep and break it down. So hopefully that, the Caribbean, we don't have to get involved in a war. And that sounds crazy to say that one day you think that, the Caribbean, like CARICOM, because the way how this thing work, I believe that if it get escalated and, Venezuela go into Guyana forcefully, then CARICOM is going to have to be a part of it. And it sounds crazy, but soldiers from different islands would have to be a part of this war. And, we hope it never gets to that, because in this Donald Trump era, where America first, I doubt if America would try to get involved, even though their interest is there with Exxon. And that is what's causing this feud with the oil, that Exxon is getting billions of dollars worth of oil. But I'm going to have to break it down in another video because it's going to take a long time. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think that the Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Ralph Gonsalves, do you think he'll be able to mediate this, or do you think it's going to lead into like a full-blown war between Venezuela and Guyana? Sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. So up next, we're going to talk about the Canada-US trade war. And this is just like a roller coaster ride. It is just crazy. Canada we have not been in the international news this much I don't think we have ever been in the international news this much. So up next, let's talk about the trade war between Canada and the United States of America. I don't think Canada has never been in the international news this much until this whole trade war situation started. And now, like, every day, Canada is in the international news. So the next story I want to share is coming from CBS America, when CBS reporters came to Ontario to interview the Premier of Ontario, because Donald Trump, as we know, Donald Trump is on and off and on and off with this old trade threat, the threat of tariffs. And the recent thing now is that the day when the tariffs took effect in Ontario, in Canada, the following day, Donald Trump decided to pause it again. So this would be the second time. And then Donald Trump also continued to say, like, look, in April, we're going to go forward with it. So the premiers in Ontario, the premiers across Canada, they're not taking that. So let's take a look at the CBS report coming out of Ontario.
Ontario's leadership is moving forward with an additional surcharge for electricity that they export to New York. This is all in response to tariffs implemented by President Trump.
For more on this, we're joined live by CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe in Toronto. Ed, you spoke with Ontario Premier Doug Ford this week. He says he had no choice on these tariffs.
That's right. Ontario, of course, big neighbor to the north, and happens to send electricity into New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. He says this past week he called the governors of those states to warn them a tariff goes into effect on Monday unless President Trump completely stops this trade war. Take a listen.
The last thing I want to do is turn out the lights. I'll put a tariff. But let's straighten this out.
And to the American homeowner in Minnesota or New York or somewhere else that gets its power from electricity,
yes,
they're going to see the electric bill in a month and they're going to realize, whoa,
yes,
a lot more expensive than it was.
That's
what
correct.
You're telling. What he's going to tell him is it's President Trump's fault and that he's sorry that they may be feeling the pain, but if you have any concerns about that, you should be calling your governor, he said, your representatives in Congress, to tell the White House to back off.
You know, Ed, I know that you're there in Toronto. You obviously spoke to the Premier. Curious if you've been speaking to Canadians and what their opinions are about what's going on.
To a person, Christine, it's quite striking. They are angry about this. They're shocked, confused. A few people nearly broke into tears talking about it. They're just so disappointed and in some cases really scared about the possibility that this is going to wreak economic pain on both countries. And then there's the president's talk about making Canada a 51st state. This country, for the most part, laughed it off in the beginning, but given how much he keeps talking about it and given that he got so close to launching this tariff war, which may start again now next month instead, they say, who are we to not believe that perhaps he really is serious about trying to annex Canada and make it part of the United States? They say if it comes to that, they're ready to fight. These are words, these are feelings, Christine, that I don't think any New Yorker, someone who grew up upstate, or any other American really would ever think Canadians would feel. And they make clear it's nothing personal towards Americans. It's all about the American president and the policy he's putting in place.
Okay, so that was the CBS report coming out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I am still sticking with my original thought. And my original thought when everything started happening is that this is not a serious trade war. This, what Donald Trump is doing, is just to keep himself in the media. Donald Trump, the Donald Trump that we know, like over 40 years now, that people have had a front row seat in Donald Trump's life since, that New York billionaire. Everyone knows that Donald Trump is a narcissist. And one thing with people that are narcissists, they love to be seen. So Donald Trump is like, that young girl that go on Instagram and post like, those thirst trap, they call them thirst trap pictures, just to get likes and to see the likes running up. And depending on what she posts and the like, she don't get the amount of like that she wants to get, then she get depressed. That is what Donald Trump is like. He's like that person that loves to be talked about. I guarantee you, we will not go through one day in the next 4 years not talking about Donald Trump. It's not like in the Joe Biden administration, there are days, weeks, sometimes months that I don't even remember that Joe Biden was the president of America, because you don't hear a peak coming out of him. But I guarantee you, you're never going to go through a day without hearing about Donald Trump. And I believe that that is the end game. Donald Trump loved to be talked about. The same Donald Trump that had the big plane with his name on the side of it. Same Donald Trump that has his name all over the buildings. Same Donald Trump that used to pay to go into rap videos. Same Donald Trump that was in Home Alone, the movie Home Alone, paid to hang out with celebrities. That same socialite Donald Trump, narcissist Donald Trump, loves to be talked about, loves to be seen. Because I would want to think that Donald Trump is smart enough to know that this whole aggressive attack with tariffs, especially on the automotive industry, is not a good idea, because the big three in America, like, they can collapse anytime. Like, Obama saved them in 2008, and they are fragile going up against these Japanese and German cars. So you would have to think that Donald Trump is smart enough to know that. So I believe that this is just attention seeking. And I would be surprised if in April he moved forward with it. I think he's just going to be threatening every month, hopefully not for the next 4 years, because this is just crazy. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on the 3 stories. Investing in Jamaica, the highway in Jamaica, do you think it's a good investment? Would you want to invest? And I'm sure CARICOM members should be able to invest in that, because, you know, members of CARICOM, and I guarantee you that would be a good return on investment. Also, so the Argyle Declaration, do you think that the Prime Minister of St. Vincent is going to be able to mediate so that Venezuela and Guyana don't get into a full-blown war? And do you think Donald Trump is going to continue with this tariff threat to Canada, to Mexico, to China, or do you think eventually it's just going to disappear? Sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on these stories. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.